It should have started. If not, it should have started. If not, I'm gonna find reference for now. Take like a few minutes and wait for some people to join. So today I'll be going over like very, I guess, basic study. Say basic, it's like straight from photo study, so nothing too advanced, but it's definitely not for like a complete beginner because it will still be a portrait. But you can apply these concepts to most photo studies, including like actually maybe I'll do a still life first because that might be easy to follow. And it will like still life would apply to portraits as well. Let's go to, and let me know if the music is too loud or anything, or if my voice is too low. I don't know. So let me see if I can pull a reference from the Discord reference forum thing that I had. Yeah, I'll keep the replay on for this. And yeah, this is MapleStory music. Voice go. I think the voice is almost as high as I can go. I just have to move the mic closer. Hopefully it doesn't block me. Okay, how about now? It's close. I don't think I want it any closer than me than this because it's gonna start blocking me. Do I? So I want to do a reference I haven't done before. Yeah, this is definitely not a ASMR stream. I just have a normal voice. It's fine. Okay, I think I'm still gonna do like a portrait reference because it's comfortable enough, and then in the future, if people want like, you know, still life studies or whatever, then I can try to do those. So just, it's kind of a plug. The stuff I will cover today is gonna be covered in more depth in the Colosso course thing. It's not really necessary because there's a ton of information out there, but obviously I would cover it in more detail in 18 hours than I can do in like 1 hour. So you don't need to draw along, but you can if you want to. So I'm going to put the reference up for a second, and I'll link it in the Discord if you're in the Discord. So this is the reference I'll be using, and it's gonna be a straight study. I'm not gonna change too much on it. So very simple. So the reason why I guess I should go over like the beginning. If you pick a reference for studying, you should know why you're picking a certain reference. So for example, here I'm picking the reference because it has like harder lights. That's like, you can practice more easily how to cut shapes into stuff like this. It has a very clear divide. Probably won't strain too long today, but we'll see. And then obviously I like practicing portraits because I like doing portraits. So a lot of these features are very clearly lined out, like the eyes, the nose. These is like a 3/4 view, and the ear is in good light. I don't care too much about the design. The hair is whatever. I don't treat hair differently compared to, you know, all the other objects. Yeah, the texture itself or the shapes themselves might differ a little bit, but at the end of the day you can use the same brush. I'll save the stream so it'll be rewatchable. Probably won't delete it. Yeah, let me send this on in the vault reference. So it'll be on Discord. I'll link the reference in Discord in general. Okay, should be there. Oh, should take out the start soon. Whoops. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, drop it and just type it in the chat, or yeah, not that there's other options, and then I'll try to answer them as I go. But I'll go over like what I look for, like the basics of what I look for and how I approach painting. So a little bit about how I like to paint. It's like I like to paint the stuff that matters the most, more in detail or more in focus usually. You know, you can flip that hierarchy, but usually like stuff that you want to be the focal point. So in this case, it might be like the nose or the left eye. You'll paint those in more detail than the rest of the painting. It's not like a hard rule, but I think it's a pretty good rule to stick to until you know how to break it, while still having it make sense. So I'll take that approach right now. And the way you can get details is either you zoom in really small, you start putting like tiny brush strokes, or you use contrast. So like, for example, stuff like right here has a very high contrast because it's like at the edge of the shadow, and it's like a cast shadow from the chin. And then you can also have like a lot of small shapes, like in the eyes there's like the iris, the pupil, the eyelashes, double eyelid. The more stuff you have in there, then the more contrast this would look compared to, you know, like a big surface. There's not much going on here. So you can use that logic. Give me 1 second. It's important to keep the same like type of logic throughout the painting, at least most of the painting. Because if you lack consistency, then you're, for the lack of better words, your style would look off. Maybe you draw, you know, the face in a certain logic, and then you draw the rest, like the background or the hair, with a certain different set of logic, and you try to piece it together. It just looks like, you know, like the face and the hair doesn't blend well together, like they're separated. And I think a lot of people run into this issue. And a lot of people also, like, a big like pitfall is like a lot of people get into the details too early, and that, you know, if you're not focused on painting the right thing, then the overall painting would not look good. If, let's say, your features are in the wrong places, a very well rendered eye in the wrong place is still going to look off. Okay. I'm gonna pause sometimes, so you guys just have to hang on. But yeah, how many people here actually paint portraits or would like to paint portraits? Let me start a poll. Kind of interested. Yeah, you can do polls in the chat. Oops. %, yes. That's a lot of yeses. Well, I guess there's like selective bias. People who follow me probably like portraits. The Discord is in the stream description, so you can just click that. Yeah, I'll keep the stream up. It's not going to be a very organized stream. Maybe in the future I'll do like a painting tutorial video, but then that kind of already doubles with what I have on Colosso. I don't want to double the effort, and I also don't hate money. So it's not like I'm going to just redo the entire Colosso course on YouTube. I don't think I'm allowed to do that anyway, so. Yeah, so if you want to follow along, or if you just want to keep this reference on your screen while I draw, I think that's pretty good to look at, like how I approach different shapes. Just screenshot it, or you can grab it from my Discord. I linked it in general chat. I'll start a bit. Yeah, I mean, if you can just, screenshot it here, I'll enlarge it for you guys. Yeah, let me get the invite link. 1 second. Oh, what the hell? My invite link expires in 7 days. I should have the permanent invite link, but sure, here you go. If you guys want to join. Yes, this will be saved. I'm not gonna go over like the very basic elements of painting. It's gonna be kind of basic. Like I won't touch up on anything complicated, but if you have trouble observing or drawing like simple shapes, then I mean you'll still get stuff out of it, but you will have other things that you need to work on as well. But here we go. So the way I like to start painting, or actually the way I approach painting, is to get it to the finished product or the finished thumbnail look as soon as possible. Waste less time. I change the composition on the fly. Like make big changes as soon as you can, because once you start detailing, you can't make those changes without moving all the details with it, and that's a lot more fixes you need to do, and you want to minimize wasting time. Okay. I'll move the chat to the side a little bit. So the first thing I would do is drop like a main color. It doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. I would advise against picking color from the reference, because you're like, don't rely on picking reference too much. Zoom out. I mean, however much you need to zoom out to see the big picture. I'll pick like a low end color, like a low value compared to what I see on the reference. I don't need the exact right color, so I'll use this for whatchamacallit, for sketching. Wait, what comments? Wait a second, is there a comment section for this live stream that I don't see? Oh, I think the chat and the comments are separate, right? Yeah, I'm not gonna open the link for the YouTube actual video comments right now. Yeah, so if you have anything, just type it in the chat. The live will stay up. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the like a random text brush. So this one's to show you the brush if you guys haven't seen it yet. It's just my name, and then it's just my name, and then you can drag it. I'm going to turn off color dynamics for now because it's kind of laggy. This is close enough for what I want. I'll change color as I go, so a simple way would be like do lines, but then I want to just get into blocking. So the quickest form that I see is the shadow on the bottom of the neck and obviously the face itself, so I can put those things in, and let's do the hair as well. So that's approximately the shape of the hair. You can tell I'm not, you know, there's like a curl here, right? Like a, I don't know, you call that cowlick? Not really. And then there's like strands here. We don't care about that right now. That's kind of like a waste of time. I don't even care about the highlights. We can put in like the eye position just to give like a sense of where everything should be. Maybe the nose. Actually, I don't. Very rarely I put nose this early. And then let me change the reference or the background color to match closer with the reference. It's like a greenish thing. I don't. As long as it's close enough, I just want to get like a little bit of separation for the face on the left. The left edge, yeah. The face itself is brighter and I think red-ish, so we can do that. Too zoomed in right now. It doesn't matter what program it is. The brush I use is, you know, it's, yeah, you can find similar things in other softwares as well, so really doesn't matter too much. I want to get the like the dark whatever she's wearing, like just a shirt, I guess. This is not dark enough actually. Okay, so something like that. I already see my face is too small compared to like how high my shirt is going. So here's a first tip on observation. Once you're at this stage, you can kind of move your stuff around. If something looks too small, too big, don't wait until you detail it to put it in. So I don't know if you can see that the face is too small, and I can tell because I have the shadow here, right? This part is that really sharp shadow on the neck, and that kind of almost connects to the shoulder, and this distance is too long compared to what I'm seeing in the reference. So what I'm going to do is I will just select the head area, and then just with the selection tool, you can paint over it, but just with the selection tool, I'll make it a little bigger. I just want to make sure that all my shapes are relatively proportioned. I can also check like, is everything right on the canvas itself? So like the shadow right here is a little bit to the left of the canvas. It's not centered. So I can tell this is not centered, so I think I'm okay there. We can also like, you know, drop angles on the cheek to the chin to see if it matches the reference. Just measuring random things. But the second thing that we can do is we can start slicing the midtones to like the shapes that they represent, or shapes that closely represents what is on the reference. Just blocking shapes. This is kind of the sketch. There's no need for another layer. And there's no like a particular workflow step that I take. It's every time it could be a little bit different. I'm just dropping in the bigger shapes. I feel like the ear is a pretty big shape. I'm not dropping it in just because it's a ear, but because it's like a pretty prominent shape on the whole picture. I'm slowly correcting the value of the shadows. Like it's a bit too high, but I don't care about complete accuracy yet, or I might not care about it for the entire painting. So there's like this strap that goes all the way to the edge of the neck. Let's get that in. So like once the big shapes are in and it's kind of in the right place, then we're less likely to mess up the likeness to the like the photo reference itself. I mean, some stuff still seems off, and we can fix that as we go. But we can start dropping features in. So I hope you guys are still following what's going on. Like the process is pretty, I wouldn't say straightforward, but it makes sense. You go for the big shapes first because they matter the most. Not the features. Some people might go in and be like, oh, let me draw the eye, let me detail the eye, and you know, all that stuff. But as far as painting goes, or as far as my take on painting goes, it's not that important. So now I still want to stay zoomed out just to get those shapes in. So right now I'm looking at the shadow around the eyes because, you know, that part, if you squint, it's pretty dark. I don't care what features there is there, but I do care what shadows there are here, because the shadow and the light makes up the form, and that's more important than what, you know, how thick your lips are or what colored the iris is. Those are not that important. I'm not worried about perspective or anything right now. So people are pretty sensitive to changes in the proportions on the face because we're good at telling differences in people and facial features. So any deviation from the overall relative shape and proportions, we'll pick it up pretty quickly. Like if anything's weird, or if it looks like a different person because, you know, maybe you drew the eyes too low or the jawline's too strong or too rounded, those things will come up very quickly. So one thing to note, like some people would think like the neck is under the chin, so the value would be darker. But if you look at the reference, you can see that the value at the jawline and the value at the neck is pretty much the same. So we can actually just block this whole thing out. I'm going a little bit slowly because I'm trying to explain. So for the lining up the eyes, we can see like the angle for the eyebrow from the reference. It's like slightly up to the right. So sometimes I just drop like a very similar color in because I don't have to worry about erasing it later. Yeah, I finished picking people for the mentorship, and this whatever I'm talking about right now is kind of similar to what I talk about for the mentorship, except I look at their stuff and then see exactly what they need work on. So right now the eyes look high, and I think that's a like kind of an optical illusion because the eye socket, the eye sits kind of low on the shadow on the eye socket because the light source is not directly up but slightly in front. If you didn't catch that, don't worry about it. I can. It's easier to illustrate when I'm actually doing that part. So I'm constantly making these fixes to the shapes because as I drop more features in, I can move them relative to each other more accurately. So maybe some things that I didn't see before, like, oh, the back of the head is actually pushed back more, I would see as I drop these shapes in, smaller and smaller shapes. So the background is actually a little bit darker than the skin color and the skin tone. So there's highlights in the nose, and sometimes you'd be tempted to put them in, but I wouldn't worry about it right now. So I have this brush that's just hard on one side, soft on the other. You don't really need it. It just, you can do the same thing with one hard brush and one soft brush. You just have to brush it twice. But this just, if you're okay at controlling it, you just need to brush it once. So if I wanted to clean this edge up, I just do this. But it is a little bit harder to control. So I want to get the eyes in, but I don't want to do too much detail. So I'm going to just get like a darker tone, get kind of the shape of the eyes and the iris, so I can get the direction that the character or the person is looking into. At a certain point, you have to dig into the details a little bit. The neck is too thin because the head is still a little bit too small. So let's fix that. So this part. The angle of the head is wrong. I don't know if it matters that much. Oops. It's a little bit off. I'm not doing anything different. I'm just zoomed in a tiny bit more to get the, you know, the next tier of shapes in, like the next size down. Oh, let me try to answer some questions. Uh, fundamentals drawing shapes. I find it kind of pointless to draw shapes on their own because you can always draw studies of forms, and that in that you can practice shapes. I just color straight. I don't do the layering and the multiply overlay layers. Not that much anyway. The colossal course fluctuates, depends on if they have a sale or not, but it should be under like 180. It's like 18 hours. Sometimes you get a sale for like $35 off or whatever. I don't control the pricing, so it's more of a colossal thing. You don't need my brush. You can use a round brush to paint, and it will be perfectly fine. You know, to prove the point, I'll use round brush this time. I'll just use round brush. So this is a pretty hard round brush. It has some opacity, and we can just work with this. So let's drop in some the smaller shapes. I want to see what the person looks like. And you do kind of need features for that, but you don't need it to be detailed. You just need it to be in the right place. Yeah, actually, I haven't drawn with round brush in a while, like round brush only in a while, because I mean, either way it doesn't make a difference. My brush speeds my workflow up a little bit because I know exactly what I want, and that's going to be different for everybody. So yeah, I'll just use round brush for this one for now. So I might actually do the color jitter on the round brush, and that setting is pretty common. It's just basically it puts random colors for you, but you can also manually choose random colors. It doesn't matter. So right now I have the values and colors kind of close to what I would imagine the references, but it's fine if it's not like really accurate, and it might be fine until the very end. Like you might not need the color to be accurate at all. So there are some smaller shapes that are kind of like very easy landmarks. I talked in the beginning about contrast. So let's say contrast level on the top of the eyelid is pretty high, and that gives the eyelid like volume and form. So this thing right here, you can see a little bit of that like same angle on this side of the face near the bottom of the eye bag area. Just wanna get I think the painting itself is a little bit too bright for my taste. So I just dropped the whole thing. So now I kind of want to get the deepest shadows in, because that it kind of locks the form in a little bit. Uh, Software requirements not necessary for my course. It's on painting. The software is just a tool. So it's like painting approaches. So I think I'm zoomed in a little bit too much. This looks very weird to me. So right now I'm putting brown for the eyes, but it's really more gray or even bluish, and maybe that's throwing me off. Too deep into the details. My nose, I think it's kind of high. I'm not sure. So if I'm picking medium colors, or like the middle colors, I don't blend, I just brush lightly over and then pick the color that I get out of that. What do you mean perspective off? I didn't use any perspective tools. That's in Photoshop. I'm gonna take out all the textures that I put in the previous brush. Because this is clearly like two different people, the reference and whatever I've drawn, because stuff are off. Just have to figure out what is off. You can visualize the buildings as boxes, and that'll make it much easier to put into perspective. I haven't really changed my approach. I'm still just putting in shapes and adjusting them as I see other shapes get dropped on the canvas. Like compared to what I'm dropping now, is everything else still in the right place? So now we can kind of diagnose why the likeness is off. Like, why is it that off? First of all, the chin is a bit too retracted. Her chin is like more forward, so it's like her head is almost tilted upward a little bit. We can fix that by just, grabbing this. You can use Liquify, but personally I try to avoid Liquify. It distorts stuff. So let's do a little bit of that. I think that's a little closer. The mouth is slanted up to the right a little bit more. Again, it's like we're viewing it, her face from a slightly lower angle. There's like some sharp stuff going on here that I didn't really illustrate yet. So this part would be the part that's easier to do with the brush, the custom brush that I have that's hard on one side and soft on the other. Or faster, maybe not easier. Fixing tiny things like direction of the gaze. I think the nose needs to be more well defined. It's like a pretty prominent characteristic on this person. I don't particularly like line art, but it has its uses. And line sketch is important, I think. So we're getting closer to the look of the person a little bit, I think. The hair is still kind of weird. Let's get the feel of the hair. And let's cover all the textures that I previously had. We'll do it with all round brush. Just one brush. That's fine. There's a lot of structure that's going on here that's in the reference, but because they're so close to each other, the values, it will take a bit more experience to kind of distill the shape. So there's like a flat area for the temple, and this is like the edge of the eye socket. We see that come down a little bit. This is almost like turning purple, so let's go a little bit purple. Purple around the eyes as well. How purple doesn't matter, I'm just trying to get the variation in a little bit. Little bit on where the light meets here, actually. I feel like I should be a bit looser with the brush strokes themselves. So I'm already using a very clean brush, like a very clean shape, so we don't need to be too careful. Let's drop a little bit of cyan in the highlights. So right now I can drop in these detail shapes because I already have the major shapes figured out for the most part, like where everything should be. I mean, obviously there's still some deviations for the character, and we can try to fix that later, but there's deviations where it makes it look like it's not a person versus deviations where it just looks like it's a different person. And in this case, it's looking like it's a different person for now. Ooh, maybe because the forehead is too high. Yeah, I think so. His chin is long. So even at this point, I'm not 100% sure I like the look of the character yet. Not sure about how I want to approach this because here there's like a lot of hair strands. So the intuition is like, okay, let me just draw all the hair strands. But if you look at what the references itself looks like, it's kind of, it's almost like blurry because of how much, how little contrast there are. There's some that comes through as high contrast because it's going over the peak highlight part for the forehead, so I think we can emulate that. And this is kind of counterintuitive. We'll blur this whole thing, almost like a gradient. I think it'll work. We'll still keep that tiny bit of a hairline. And what we can do is do like the highlight, make the highlight a little bit bigger, and we just cover that few strands of hair. Oops. Let's stick with round brush here. Let's just cover that few strand of hair with that kind of bright orange. Maybe not that thin. To get the same feel. And there's some darker strands, so you can pull that into. I mean, it'll be slightly easier with like a, people call it rake brush. They just call it brush with a lot of holes in it. But it's the same thing if I just, go in and do the strands manually. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. And we can also, let's do color dynamics. We can also vary the color a little bit because you can see that the strands here actually has a little bit of blue, a little bit of orange. So if we vary that with a low saturation, you can kind of get that, I don't know if it's like chromatic effect or like grading, like the hair oil is creating like a, how do I put it? Like a rainbow effect, tiny rainbow effects. Obviously, this will take a while, but we can emulate that texture just with random brush strokes and random colors. So So I think that looks a little bit better. I only care about what the texture feels like, not what it actually is pixel wise. So maybe I think I want to pick out some shapes to make this interesting, because you can't just, you know, blur airbrush everything. So let's get the characteristics of the hair a little bit. Same with this. Low contrast in the pupil itself. So we'll put low contrast as well. Very orange in the upper eyelids. There's like a little bit of texture in the eyebrow, and you can cheat that by looking at where the light meets, where like the brow curves over to the shadowy area. Just take a really small brush, 7 pixels or something. Get the darkest color you have here, go a little darker, and just get that area, like the areas that are gonna meet the light. We can just leave the rest blurry, and that's really all you need for getting texture. You don't need to like every strand of the entire surface. That's not really necessary. Just the edges is enough to, you know, give the impression. It's also this very sharp shape. We can exaggerate that shape a little bit, so it's kind of like that, right? I have a little bit of a color jittering in the round brush a little bit. And turn that off. We don't need it. We don't need the fancy stuff. This surface is a little dirty, so we'll clean that up. There's like this interesting eyelash drop shadow here. Put that into just a little bit to get the same texture. I don't know what's going on here. This is too sharp, like the cheekbone shadow. So I'm just going to hit it with like an airbrush. It's just a soft round brush when I say airbrush. I want this face to be like mostly blurred out, or not blurred out, low contrast. Yeah, because there's no attraction here for me for the painting. That's not where I want the eyes to go. Let's focus on the sharp areas. We still want to reflect like the face changing direction. So the bottom of the neck, right before the collarbone, it gets kind of bright. So we'll do that. Okay, now we can kind of go in and fix this part that I completely, drowned out. I don't know if it's because of the sky reflection. It could be anything outside the frame. So here's where I have to, blur out one side. I just use the airbrush on one side. Oops. And then let's do the collarbone here, right around here. Like, I'm pretty loose with how I'm putting in the color right now because I'm going to, blur out some of the sides anyway. And let's see. Like, initially it looks very, I don't know, kind of janky, but if you know how to fix the shapes, it doesn't matter what you initially put that much. I only care that the position and the overall tone is correct. This one's a little lighter. It's like light blue. Here. Let's put that in. Yeah, it's close enough. Actually, let's make it a little bit brighter. And then I can just airbrush it back in. And there's some texture in the cloth itself. So I'll just kind of put that in just to get the feel of what it's supposed to look like. Like, even with very basic shapes and, like this I'm putting in, like, I would say pretty carelessly, it's already, like, believable in terms of, like, realism for the lighting. If you zoom in, it's just a bunch of really kind of wacky paintbrush. I didn't care to get it exactly the same. It doesn't matter. Only the overall shape and, like, the overall form and value matters. And then we can kind of play around with this, the hair, like give it more characteristic, or rather represent the characteristic in the reference a little bit better. So there's like strands here. I'm just giving it a little bit more because I like these features. I'm exaggerating the features. I won't go over like how to control the exaggerations right now. Just mostly, this stream will mostly be like the observation part. the moving features. The line, like the ambient occlusion between the lips, is kind of important. Definitely takes a little longer to do with round brush, but what are we at right now? An hour drawing, which, I mean, realistically, it doesn't take that much longer. And there's almost nothing you can't get with just like a very basic set of brush. These shapes inside the, like on the nose here, it's very interesting. I think that's what gives certain personalities and characteristics to the face, like these forms. If you know the structure of the shape, then it actually helps you to kind of determine what you're looking at. Sometimes you can't tell what is causing that if you don't understand form very well. think the eyes are actually too low by a little bit. I think the rest is just fine-tuning the shapes. And you could add some like flare highlights or weird exaggerations if you want. And one of those exaggerations that I like to add is Terminators. So Yeah, I'll probably stop here for this one. Oh, I didn't even save. Let me see if there's any questions. I don't know painting style names. I don't think they're particularly useful. Yeah, I sent the reference on the Discord server, but yeah, this was a referenced study. I mean, I would clean this up a little bit more, but I think you guys get the idea. So pretty much all of this was done over with round brush. I covered most of the textures I had with the, you know, the whatever brush and the Pluvium brush, but the rest is just round brush, hard round and soft round brush. The color saturation, that's a pretty long discussion, so I won't cover it here. Like I said, I won't cover it nearly as much as what I could cover in 18 hours on the Colossal thing. But there's a lot of guides for colors and how to approach it. There's like a couple different school of thought, and pick what you like, I guess. Yeah, Discord is in the stream description. How can you get round brush? I think you gotta pay like a premium. It's like $1,000. I find a Discord invite. I don't know if it counts as obsessed. I kind of like... I mean, I like painting and drawing. The reference is in the reference channel. In Vault. Yeah, if you don't have the super texture mixer oil paint Alla Prima round brush, you can't paint. I don't know what to tell you. No, Ganyu's only for me. What are you talking about? Yeah, I block in shapes. I don't like doing line sketches. I almost never do line sketches because it's slower. Why would I want to go slower? Unless I'm designing. If I'm designing, maybe I'll do line. I might do another reference for this week, but I don't want to study Pain Dude like exclusively. So what I would do is, wait, where was I? Yeah, I'll probably study other artists, but I don't need to study the same artist over and over. Once I feel like I'm satisfied with what I've learned from them for now, maybe I'll study them again in the future. I might stream again later today. If I do, it would probably be just in the Discord VC, the voice chat. But yeah, either that or maybe I'm too busy. I don't know. We'll see. If you wanted to paint another figure or another character using a reference, that's a very long discussion actually. But essentially you want to learn how to do form very accurately. Then you can change it to whatever you want. Or you can use multiple references and then combine them. But exercise for brush efficiency. I don't think that's something most people need to worry too much about. Get the shapes down first. Once you can get the shapes down very accurately, then worry about, how to get the same shapes in less brush strokes. You shouldn't push for speed if you're not able to get it to a place you want it to first. Then you can worry about speed. I might turn her into Ganyu. I don't know. Zoom out for not focusing too much on the tiny shapes and tiny value changes. Like what I'm doing right now. I think some people on YouTube might have similar approaches. Not everybody's gonna draw, but actually nobody draws exactly the same way. So this is more like a traditional approach for painting. But if you're software dependent, then you're gonna have to find other resources. You can start with round brush, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. So if you are good at controlling the brush, the brush gives you what you expect in terms of shapes and pressure and texture. I guess texture is the least important. The shapes you can control well, then you can probably use that brush to study. I would just stick to 2-3 brushes and just draw. Don't worry about the pressure or the brush settings themselves, especially the complicated ones like mixer or color blending or foreground background mixing, the wetness of the brush and stuff like that. Those are not too important. Alright, I'm gonna head out in a few minutes. I'll leave the stream on for a minute or two more, and I will see if I can answer any questions, and then I'll close the stream. I had a brush collection addiction, slightly. got to like 700 brushes, and I didn't really use them, so it's not like I got stuck collecting brushes. Yeah, I haven't used triangle brushes too much, but I heard it's kind of cool. You can get pretty sharp brush strokes like that, whereas like you can't get as sharp in a single stroke with a rectangular brush. You still can if you cut into it. It's like carving. But I stream like once a week, maybe twice a week. I mean, I think if you want to paint, I would recommend my Colossal course. If you want to draw like line art and like anime cell shading, probably not my course for the first choice. It'll still help to a degree, but I'm sure there are better ones that's more relevant. 16 years drawing. I would say most of my improvements came from the last 4 years. I drew more consistently. Whoops. I only have maybe 15 hours a week to draw. I'm busy otherwise. I would like to draw like 8 hours a day, 10 hours, 12. I don't have a particular, like a specific artist that's my main inspiration. So it's hard to answer. I have a bunch I like, but the bottle is photo bashing because that's what Pain Dude did. He photo bashed the bottles in the fridge, so that's what I did. Didn't have to, but you know, if you want to save an hour or two. I'm 30s, like mid 30. Basically did. On like Discord terms, I'm like a super boomer, right? Everybody who's above 20 is basically, you know, dead. So I don't know if I'll play PoE 2 because I have this really nice game. It's called Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint. It's like PoE 2, but you get to draw. No, I don't have art class. I've never taken, well, I've taken like college art classes for requirements, but that's it. Yeah, I'm actually on my deathbed right now. No, not even expired, like decomposed. We're like recycling mode at this point. Oh, this is just a Maple Story playlist. I don't know about growing up, but I have a favorite anime. Steins Gate, the best anime. This stream will be archived, yeah.
Hold on. Let me read. I would like to work full time on art if I can make money from it. If I can make enough to not starve to death. That's why I'm thinking of doing the mentorship thing for money, because of my my addiction to food and housing. I was a crusader for Maple Story. Scania. I'm ranked way back a long time ago. Classical painter. Probably Leyendecker or Singer. John Sargent. Sargent. Singer. 30s. 30s. Very old. Dead. Might as well be 75. Yeah, housing's pretty cool. They have this thing called air condition. I live in a place that's 50 degrees Celsius in the summer. I do have a slight addiction to air conditioning. If I don't get air conditioning, I get like pretty bad withdrawal, like dehydration, stuff like that. It's pretty bad. How do I put this? I don't like charging money for art. I don't like doing commissions. If I did and I just, you know, do fan arts and hit cons, I'd probably make like bare minimum. But to actually do art the way I like to do it and make money is, I don't know, maybe it's a pipe dream. Van Gogh's cool, but I like Monet because Impressionism. Yeah, good thing they haven't commercialized clean air yet. They do that in China, right? Certain cities. They sell you like Africa air. Yeah, I don't even know how to monetize YouTube. I'm just like, yeah, I stream and I make videos, but I like using music that's not free to use because I like making videos that I like. So I'll probably be broke forever. If I die, I die. It's fine. Ooh, what is that? I have a Patreon. I put my brush on there because people keep asking. So I put my brush on there and I tell people not to buy it because it's not gonna help you paint. People buy it anyway. So yeah, it sustains my boba addiction. I do like EDM stuff, but the stuff I like is like very specific. So I like Cohen sounds and I like Cry Wolf, which is not really EDM, but I don't know how likely it is for me to reach out and have them let me use it for free. Or I guess maybe I can buy commercial rights to it. It sounds expensive. I don't know. Oh no, I definitely don't want to get into the in-house industry, like whether it's gaming or like production, like film, because I think the grind, I would hate it. I want to draw whatever I like, and I think teaching how to paint is okay because I like painting and like technical approaches, but I don't want to sit in house and grind frames forever. So Twitch stream. I did Twitch stream before. Couldn't I get like 20 viewers, which I don't think is sustainable living. I think even like senior artists make a decent amount of money, but to get in, the type of skills that you need is different from what I have. Like, let's say you're a concept artist, then you have to develop concepts and you need a portfolio for that, but I'm mostly like an illustrative painter and specifically portrait painting. So not a whole lot of path or opportunities in that field. This is like it's very narrow in the art industry. Like sure I can paint some backgrounds, but I'm no background specialist. I just have enough technical capability to paint backgrounds. But not design them. There's a difference. Yeah, I know you can like simultaneously do streams, but I don't know if I care that much. I've considered doing YouTube and, you know, being like a YouTuber that has some numbers and I can sell stuff that I like personally, or sell stuff that I make because I like making stuff, but yeah, I don't know how big that market really is. Not really. I like drawing portraits. I mean, obviously I've considered Not Safe for Work as like a, you know, like I know it's a viable path for some people. I just don't think I would like it personally. Though technically I like painting for shapes and composition that looks good. So it almost doesn't matter too much what subject I paint. No, the Ganyu arts for me, I just post them, but I draw them because I want to draw them. I want the style of painting with Ganyu, but nobody really does that, so I was like, I gotta do it myself. I could care less about the Genshin whales. If I did, I would just be drawing different Genshin characters all the time, or different fan arts all the time, but I have like a baseline dislike for marketing, I think. I know it's like not the best mindset if you want to try to make a living out of art, but I have to think about that one for a bit. Like, market things that I wouldn't mind selling. But if I'm just drawing fan art or it's like Zhongli or something, who I don't like, just because there's a big fan base, or whoever is the newest characters in Gacha, which I don't care about, and sell them, then it's like, yeah, I might as well just do my normal day-to-day job, so... Sell my soul to that. Yeah, I'm gonna need that for the gym. The art thing, I hope I can handle it by myself without needing Satan for that. But the gym, I might need it. Hard to say on the tips on the traditional art. If you use a traditional method for painting, and that's another long discussion, then I think it will look traditional. But if you start using like line art, layering, and lasso separations, then it would look less traditional. Average like 2.5 hours per piece, I would say. I would say this is like intermediate, maybe early intermediate painting tutorial. It's like, because it's a portrait, but then we're only focusing on shapes and stuff. There's not a whole lot of complex topics in this stream, so I wouldn't even say it's like a late intermediate painting. It's definitely not like advanced or anything, because I'm not an advanced painter, so I can't cover those topics. But definitely not beginner. The beginner would be like, you know, you're doing boxes and painting, I don't know, teapots and stuff. That's, especially as like plaster studies of random shapes, forms, that would be like closer to beginner stuff. Yeah, the biggest issue is observation for painting, at least early painting. The biggest problem for most painters and most artists is observation. So if you're studying and you're looking at a reference, I can point this out. Actually, this is kind of an interesting topic. So let's say we're looking at the reference itself. Let's go here. The issue, half the issue, is how well can you read the reference itself? So a lot of people would see, you know, like if you're new to drawing, you'll see like, oh, here's, oops. You say, here's an eye. Here's another eye, and then you might draw the eyes like this, you know, like just what you think is eye shape. And then, you know, nose if you do anime. If not, then you might do like something like this. And then the mouth is just, right? And that's if you're already accurate in placing things. The issue with this is you miss all the nuances in the reference itself, which makes the painting interesting. So an artist, when they look at a reference, they might pick out different parts that are interesting to them. That's why styles happen, like stylization. It's because I see certain shapes and I want to exaggerate them. So, for example, some people would see very clearly, at least for me, it's like there's this light shape here that's very clearly define what the nose looks like, so it's like pretty angular, and then this is like the bulb of this light right here. This is a bulb of the nose that's peeking out against the drop shadow of the tip. If you don't know what I'm saying, that's fine. We can go with a more obvious observation. So things like this, you know, if you're someone who's new, who's drawing, you might just go, oh yeah, there's a straight line. But if you really break down like what it looks like, there's a straight line here, but then it blurs out here, and then curves up, curves down, and then here it curves this way. There's a reason why this curves this way. It's because of how the form works. So the form of this face changing to this face, there's a, if you know, like a cheekbone, like how the skull works, so the top of the teeth, there's like this empty space here, and then the lower jaw. If you know that, then you could guess that the form transitions this way, and that's why this line is the direction that it is. If you don't pick up on these things, then your paintings would be more dry, your shapes would not be as interesting, because if I can pick out these details, I can exaggerate these to make it more fun. So, for example, Arcane does this a lot. Arcane, if you look at their faces, they have like a lot of sharp angles. It's because they pick out these very interesting shapes, like the curvature here and then the sharpness here. They pick out these shapes and then they exaggerate them for the characteristics or for the style of the overall production. And being able to notice these different things, like, oh, there's double eyelids, but it's not connecting because of how the skin folds. There's a little bit of a crease here. This is the eyelash. There's the shadow on the eyelash, and why does the shadow fall this way? It's not straight. It's not like, you know, it's falling this way because the form here is changing. That's a little bit more advanced than just looking at the picture. But these small differences, like right here, there's the ear. Some people might just draw the ear like this, right? But how the ear connects to the head, there's details in the reference. There's a lot of details in the reference, and how much you pick up. More like the more you pick up, the more you get to choose what to keep. And the choosing part is the art style. It's not, oh, this guy uses this brush, so his art style is because of the brush. No, the art style is because of what you're able to observe and what you choose to keep. What you choose to keep and exaggerate. So I could exaggerate, let's say we can break down this eye to, you know, these shapes, right? And I can exaggerate this eye. Let's say I want it sharper. I can do this, right? If I want it to have more detail, because that's the style I'm going for, then I can break this down into several curves. And maybe I want it to be slightly more open. How would I do that? So and there's these little details, like, why does this happen? It's because this face on this side is very smooth and it's tangent to the background, so it's picking up the background color. We can see this one is the difference between the background itself and the skin color. It's like right in the middle. So if we see it on the color wheel, this and this, so the middle would be right about there. It's a little darker because the skin retains more color, but you can kind of make these guesses and put them in your painting, and this takes a long time to build, like, the observation. I can't tell you what the common issue of an advanced painter is, or advanced artist, because I'm not an advanced artist. Intermediate artists, depends which way they want to go. Do they want to go technical like me, or do they want to go like storytelling like Guways? I would say Guways is an advanced artist, so I can't really pick that apart very easily. But a lot of intermediate artists, intermediate artists, they don't pick their focal points, and then they just, you know, render everything, and that could be its own style, but most of the time there's too much mess, so the painting or the art itself does not read well. So it's like if you zoom in on the hair and we don't pick a focus on the hair, it's just like noise, but there's a lot of details here. But because there's no choice that's made to exaggerate certain shapes more than others, it's just, there's too much things to look at. So if everything is detailed and rendered, nothing is in focus. Also, I think a lot of intermediate artists, It's the same issue, like rendering, and then you get to the point where you're burning out per painting. Like if you're 20-40 hours in, you don't want to look at the painting anymore. So I don't need to draw figures in perspective boxes. I can just put them in perspective. But if it's a very, very complicated angle, I might use boxes to place it. I don't want to drop people into buckets, especially if they're like artists that we know from the top of my head. Actually, I don't know any artists from the top of my head that I follow that I would call intermediate artists. I think most of them are pretty advanced. So Yuming Lee, Krenz, like Gui's, Taiki from Japan. They're all pretty advanced, whether it's like technical or just how they do art. I've consciously chosen it a bit, yes, but I could have worked on it more in terms of how I rendered the details. The choosing the reference, or not the reference, the focal point is more just placing objects and a little bit of placing the light, but the render itself is pretty all over the place. So yeah, all right. I'm gonna head out. I might stream again later, but I probably won't put out as many notices and stuff. I just paint next to existing values, and that's how I tell if it's brighter or darker. It's the most obvious way. Just test paint a little bit. Thanks. Oh, hi. I hope you didn't just join because I'm about to close the stream. Yeah. The stream will be saved on the live tab. Probably. Unless I decide to delete it. I don't know. I'll probably keep it. Alright, see you guys next time. I'll try to do weekly studies.